Good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. This is Stacey. Welcome to Crafty Hour 87. Good morning, good morning. I feel like I haven't done a Crafty Hour in forever. So I was excited to join you guys today. Let me just, there we go. I can see myself. I hope you are well. I hope your week has been a wonderful one. Good morning. This is Stacey with Clipper Street, and we are going to do Crafty Hour 87. I absolutely fell in love with this kit. Hello, Sharon. Good morning. It is, it's a good one. It's a good one. It's very muted, and I love the vintage, the kind of sepia tones and all of that. So it was right up my alley. It's one of those collections that you can add color if you wish, or if you want to keep it very neutral and very subdued. It's just a really beautiful, beautiful collection. And the wildflower laser cuts, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I fell in love with those. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, Wanda. Good morning, Linda. Hey, Gail. I hope you are doing well. And Gloria. It is 10:01. Hello. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. So I guess I should first mention, just in case, I know we all get 100 of these kits and we sometimes tuck them away and we forget what they look like. So this is Crafty Hour 87. We do have a few left. So if you would like to grab one, maybe you fell in love with it too. These are perfect for layouts, for cards, for mini books, $36, and it's a good deal for sure. So we do have, I bought a kit myself. I bought another kit because I fell in love with those laser cuts, or the wildflowers. I did a layout class. It's selling right now with the Faded Memories, but I didn't use the wildflower laser cuts. And I was telling Deanna, I'm like, oh my goodness, these are so gorgeous. They're just utterly stunning. So I'm excited I get to play with them with you today. So these are 2 cards. I do have a third, so we'll see what the morning looks like. I know I have an hour, so if there is time, I'm just gonna try and zoom in just a little bit. Can I don't know. Okay, we'll leave that be. I don't want to. Oh, there we go. Little bit. I'm not used to doing cards. I'm used to having big layouts and where I need the camera a little higher. So these are 2 of my cards. We are going to start with this one. I know that I did post some homework, and that was to pull some of the bits and pieces. So I'm just going to set this one aside and we will get started with this one. And I know I said 2 card bases. So I'm going with the classic A2 size. That's one that I enjoy. So I think we all know this, you probably know it more than me because you guys are old card making pros here on Crafty Hour. So if you take an 8.5 by 5.5, score it at 4 1/4, we have our card base. So that is what I have here. And I used a good sturdy card base. Now, I will admit, I even had a photo and everything of the paper, and I was looking at my homework post and I'm like, I missed adding that photo. So I'm gonna help you grab your paper. I actually had posted this and it had rings around the sheets that I wanted you to grab. So I apologize, but it's no big deal. We can grab we can grab our paper. So if you want to find this one, I love this pattern. I love how distressed it is. It's got like some spackle on there. So we are going to utilize this side, just a little snippet of it. And then we are going to take this brown. Now, you could flip it over if you want a lighter look, but we are going to take this, we are going to cut a piece of it, and I did emboss it. So I embossed it, and I used a Spellbinders embossing folder. Today I am going to try, this is from Crafter's Companion. This is a damask. I'm going to try this one today because I get a little bored. I get bored easily, so I'm going to try a different one. So in the homework, I said just grab an embossing folder if you wish. Now, of course, you don't have to do this. You will see there's a little bit of a pattern there. I don't know what made me emboss it. I kind of thought, I bet it'll give it a very vintage feel. I will admit the paper is not, it's a good weight. It's not super sturdy. So it survived it, but I did take my good old sanding tool, and I just roughed it up a little bit, but we'll get there, right? So that is the brown. And then we've got the blue. So it looks like this. We are going to use that pretty blue there. So I am going to get myself situated. The little guillotine trimmer is missing. Oh well, I shall survive. I'll use my trimmer. Okay, so then let's just quickly go over these bits and pieces here, just in case. I know we had homework, but sometimes life gets in the way. So we have this little piece of the ephemera. We have this one. I really like the blue. I like the blue and the brown. It adds a little bit of color because I know the brown can be a lot of brown. So it's nice to have that blue. It kind of just, it adds some dimension there. So I have this little amazing little strip there. I have remember. Oh, and here's the beautiful flowers. Look at that one. So I have a little flower. I know with Courtney's project, you are going to pull your bits and pieces with her. And then we have one of these little winged friends. I love these. These came in handy when I was designing my layouts. So I'm going to get you to grab that. And then I used this one, and we are just going to cut off like an inch of it. So we don't have to waste the whole thing, because this is really great for layers. It works really well. So we're going to cut off about an inch of it. So if you want to grab that one, I know there's a few different ones. I really liked the scale of the pattern on this one. So that's why I selected that one. So first of all, we are going to do a cut. I'm just going to put this, where should I put this? Maybe like right here. So that first layer on my card, I have flat. Oh, there's such a delay. I always forget that. So my first layer, we are going to cut this dark blue paper here. We are going to cut a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. So 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. I don't know where the little guillotine went, but I'll get over that. And we are going to cut it 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut it 4 and then 5 1/4. And that is going to be kind of our first layer. So 4 by 5 1/4. And you can set those pieces aside. And see, that's going to sit just like that. But first, I need you to decide, are you inking? Are you not inking? So that's an important decision for you to make. I decided to do some inking. Now I'm using gathered twigs. You could use any brown. I'm not doing a crazy amount, but I just thought, you know, sometimes when you cut this paper, good morning everybody, it has kind of a little bit of a white edge and everything is so lovely and brown. So I'm just adding just a little bit of ink around my edge. I'm not really going onto my paper per se. Just kind of making sure that white edge is gone. Has a little brown just to kind of tie it in. So I'm going to set that aside. And this is going to go down right in the center. I used white for my card base. I will admit I had a bit of a dilemma. I'm like, what should I do? Should I use a craft? Should I use a color? And then I kind of started playing with it and I really just liked the white. I thought it was kind of crisp. Can't go wrong. I didn't do anything on the inside of the card, but you certainly could. You could take all of your bits and pieces that you're going to have left over, and you could certainly add some interest on the inside of your card. So that is the first step. Our next step, we are going to take our brown piece and we are going to emboss this if you wish. You do not have to. Absolutely do not have to. Like I said, there is a little bit of a pattern there. So it's not like it's just a boring old piece of brown paper. You could also go rogue and use the other side. I will permit you to do that. You can make all the different tweaks that you want to. So we are going to cut our brown piece. So it measures 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so that's number 3 here. And again, we're taking this piece of paper. So I'm going to cut it. So it is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Three and 1/4 by 4 3/4. So you can see it here. I used a Spellbinders, I think it was like a floral medallion. I did put it in the homework, so maybe you have something like that. This time, like I said, I get bored. I'm going to try a different pattern. So this is, that gives you a better idea. Just something that is all over. You know, we don't want something that has a little piece of a pattern there. So I am going to move off screen here. And I did mention for you to have your embossing folder or your embossing machine, your die cutting machine. So if you wish, cut that little piece of paper. Let's hope I did this the right way. I did. I'm really bad. Sometimes I emboss the wrong way. this works. So look at that. It's a nice all over pattern. We do have a few of those if you need a, I love damask. It's probably one of my favorite patterns whenever I hear that word, or damask. I know there's different ways. So I'm just going to take my, look at this. Is this not vintage? I am moving my scrapbook room around the house to try. I'm like Goldilocks. So there's some tools I haven't quite discovered yet. So I came across this. I'm like, this will sand. So maybe you have a nicer sanding block. But I'm just taking it. I'm going to go around the edges. I've got kind of a deboss thing happening here. And I am going to, I'm not going to go wild. I'm just going to go here and there. Give it a little bit of a scruff up. Be careful, because if you press too hard, you might go through your paper. But I'm just going to give it a little scruff. I'm kind of happy with that. I'm going to clean it off. I might have some color from something transferring, but that's okay, because it does make a difference, right, Sharon? I want things a little distressed. I want to get a little bit scruffy. So having that little bit of a sand, and then I'm just going to go over, and maybe you have a different brown. This was just the one that I chose, but I'm going to go over, and this brown is just going to kind of pick up that white. And so I'm just going to end up, that white, off-white, kind of becomes a different shade of brown. And I'm not pressing too hard. I'm okay if there's still a little bit of white. I'm not going to worry too much. And I'm not loading too much ink onto my paper either, because really I'm not stressing about this, because we're going to cover a lot of this up, right? So I'm happy with that. So it's going to live somewhere like that, but right now I'm going to set that aside because we have some more snipping to do here. I want you to find this piece. Like I said, I chose this one because I liked the scale of the pattern. It goes well, I think, with everything. And there's not a lot of pattern here, so I thought it gives a nice pop of pattern. So I'm jumping all over the place. That's just how my brain works. So if you look at number 5, let's turn our attention to number 5. We are just going to cut a 1-inch strip because this should already be 4 1/4. So I'm just going to take my trimmer, and if it's not exactly 1 inch, no stress, because we aren't even going to see that much. But I'm just taking, I'm taking the left end of it. And this is not garbage. You set that aside and use it for something else. I'm not entirely sure what Courtney's using, so don't throw anything away, set it aside. You might be able to use it. Now, so I just have this little 1 inch by 4 1/4. That's this number 5 step there. Would be helpful if I worked in my own order, right? No. Shake things up a little bit. Good morning, everybody. I wish I could say good morning to everybody as they come in, but I see you. Thank you. So that is another piece done. So we can go ahead and set that aside. Now, I want you to grab this piece here. And what we are going to do, we are going to cut a strip. I'm ping-ponging here, so we're going to go to number 4. And I want us to just cut a strip that is 1 inch by 5 1/4. So I'm going to leave that up to you, which side you choose. This side has a little bit more of that little print hiding. This side you might have a little bit more blue. So you can see here I chose that side. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it from this side this time. So again, we're at number 4 here, 5 1/4 by 1 inch. So all I'm going to do, I'm taking my piece of paper here and I'm just going to cut a 1 inch strip. And I'm going to set this aside. We will require it later. And so looking at this, last time I kind of went more at this end. I'm going to go with more of the blue. So I am going to cut a piece that is about 5 1/4. We just want a little bit of pattern. So again, we're on step number 4. I'm testing you to see if you're awake. A normal person would work in order of the numbers they've created, but I'm kind of wacky. I'm the wacky crafter. I'm ping-ponging all over the place. Okay, so now I have my 3 pieces here. So we have stuck our blue, that kind of background piece. That is going to be our first layer, if you will. And then we have this little piece of our big piece of ephemera. So we just cut 1 inch off of that. And then we have a little strip just to add, again, a little pop of pattern, add a little bit more blue coloring to our card. And this was 5 1/4 by 1 inch. Okay, so let's start assembling here. We are going to start with our piece of, this is actually a piece of ephemera. So if you look at it, I'm going to show you on the original card here. You can see there's, maybe 1/4 of an inch there, and then it's kind of centered. So we just want to have a little border there and centered top to bottom. I'm an eyeballer. So to me, and especially when I'm designing something, often I have learned to use repositionable adhesive because, it's a crafter's prerogative to change our mind, right? So I have attached that. I've got it centered on there. I've got, just a smidgen of a border there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and this one's going to live just about there. Now I want to get some dimension. So I am going to take my foam strips. We're going to pop this up because why not, right? We are going to pop it up. And so this is just that little blue lattice pattern. Not quite sure with these little pads. I don't know what the name is. Okay. With these foam strips, I always feel I need like a little soundtrack for when I'm peeling off the backing of my foam. Just so it's not dead air, right? Okay. So I think I'm going to have it, yeah. Also, note to self, if there's any written text, just make sure it's right side up, because the person you're giving it to might not notice, but I can guarantee you we will notice. And so that is going to sit just like that. So we're just seeing a bit of that pattern. And then we've got our blue lattice pattern, 1 inch by 5 1/4, popped up here. And then let's start playing around with this guy. So this is just going to sit just like that. So I can see a smidgen of my pattern here. I can see kind of a smidge of that blue on the right side. If you want to cut that at all and make it a little more narrow or a little smaller, I'm going to leave that up to you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my flat adhesive, so I use a tape runner, and I'm going to run some right on that side, and then I'm going to have some foam tape on this side, because I don't want any caverns or any uneven construction, right? And I want some of my foam strips, kind of bridges that gap, right? So we don't get any boop, anything that looks weird. We don't want anything that looks odd. We don't want any kind of peaks and valleys. And again, just kind of centering everything on the front of that card. I'm going to see, so just like that. So that's what I've got here. So I can see a little bit of that edge. I've got a little bit of the blue edge, and now I can keep going, right? So let's build out the rest of our card. These work incredibly well for card making for sure. And I'm just taking my brown ink and I'm just going around the edge a little bit. This is very much like a postage stamp. Just to tie in kind of my rule of thumb, and I think it might be most people's. If you've inked one thing, you really need to carry that through. So it is a commitment. It's a commitment, right? Once you do it, and we are going to pop that up, or I am at least. Pop it up. And this is going to go right smack dab in the center. I don't know what is with my foam strips. Maybe they got hot somewhere and they're super, super sticky. So I'm working with it like that. I guess you could go like that, but I've got it like that. And again, we're just going to, as best we can, center that in the center, right in the middle of our embossed brown piece. And now we can start adding in all of our ephemera. And again, I'm just taking my ink and I'm running around the edges. And when I'm doing this, I'm not being too precious about it. Shouldn't take us long. Just kind of going around the edges of all of my little bits and pieces, even the flowers, if you wish. I was a bit of a, usually I'm really careful with my laser cut ephemera, and the quality is so outstanding that I've never really had an issue freeing the laser cut design from the packaging. But this time I was a menace. Like I was just, it had to have been me. I don't know. I was tearing, ripping stems off of flowers, ripping little antennas off my winged friends. So just grab that ink if you're inking and drag it around your edges of all of these guys. And with these, I'm not being too particular. I'm just kind of adding. These are so delicate. I'm not obsessing about getting in every inch. Lois, yes. Lois says the combination of blue and brown is lovely. It is very lovely. Very kind of classic. Okay, so let's keep layering here. Oops. This has numbers on it. Make sure they're facing the right way. And this is going to sit. And I mean, it's not the end of the world if you add something a little bit differently, but I have it sitting just about there. And I'm not worrying about putting foam tape on my edges. You can if you want. It's not like I'm building too much on top of it, so I'm really not going to stress about that. And then I've got, it's almost like a little house number. This is going to go down, but first, just so I make sure I've got everything in, this is the way I work sometimes. I like to put one thing down, and then if there's ever a chance for me to go wonky and get things weird, I like to be really safe about it, and I'll start kind of at the bottom. So remember is going down first, and I did not pop it up. And it is essentially, see this the little postage edge? It's pretty much going to rest right above that cream edge. So it's just going to run right along that edge. Right along that edge. And I'm not popping it up. And I do have it hanging over. And if you want to put a little piece of foam tape there, I'm going to be a rebel. I'm not worrying about it. So it hangs over and it kind of meets that edge right there. Something like that. Something in that vicinity. Okay, so now I have this amazing definition, and what I did, I'm just going to run a piece of my foam strip right across the edge of my blue kind of postage base there. That is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to, sometimes I like to add the adhesive to the surface as opposed to the piece that I'm attaching. Sometimes I just find it easier. It keeps me straight and confined to where I'm supposed to be. So this is going to go right like that. And it's going to dangle, not really, kind of right over the edge of our brown just a little bit. And I'm just gonna smush it and make sure it's okay. I am happy with that. Now I have an anchor to attach. I love these flowers. They're pretty, but they're like a little distressed. I'm gonna snip my little stem just a little bit. You can do whatever you need, but I just want it to sit kind of like that. And I don't know about you, but what I've found easiest is I usually just, I put my foam tape here. I might, depending on what's going on, I usually add a little bit of foam to the leaves. It kind of stabilizes things a little bit. So that is what I am going to do. Sometimes I don't add it to the leaves, but it kind of just anchors everything because these are delicate little beauties. And maybe you're not popping it up. Maybe you just want to have it flat. I will leave that up to you. But I just have it kind of growing out of my little definition strip there. So pretty. I'm just gonna kind of, I like to sometimes be very careful. Their little stems are so dainty, but sometimes I like to take just the edges of the leaves or maybe the petals and just curl them up a little bit. Just gives them a little more life. Okay, now we can go ahead and attach our little 9319. I'm a big fan of numbers and letters, so if there's anything like that, I will definitely gravitate towards it. So I just have it, it's kind of covering the edge of our postage stamp there. And then we need our little friend. And I'm just gonna very carefully roll the edges of their wings. Not too much, otherwise it'll crease and look wonky. And I just have it somewhere like that. I don't like this little step here. So in my mind, I needed something to cover that up. So just, you know, have him kind of somewhere around like that. And it just fills in that little bitty area there. And then I just have one more little touch to do and we are done the first card. Done, done, done. So I'm gonna put him, he's kind of marching in, and there he is. So that is complete. Now, I will admit, I'm not a huge glitter fan. I like well-placed glitter sometimes, but what I do love, I find myself gravitating, are the little shimmer pens. Glimmer Nouveau. These are from Prism Studio. We can get them more consistently, it seems like. And it's got that lovely little brush tip. And it has shimmer in it. I'm so sorry. So you don't have to do this, of course, because this is beautiful. It's vintage, it's muted, but I want to add just a little bit of something to it. So I'm just taking my little pen and I'm being very intentional, and I'm not doing everything. I'm just almost like we're watercoloring. I just want a little bit. I want it to kind of catch catch the light here and there. So I'm not going crazy. Oops. I'm being too rough here. Not going crazy at all. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So there you go. That is finito. That is done. So that is card number 1. I am just going to, I don't know if that's on camera. Give me a moment, I will see. And again, if you're watching this on replay, just a nice little embossing folder for that brown piece. It works really well. Okay, so I'm gonna tidy up my space here a little bit. So that is number 1. We are going to move on to card number 2. So I'm gonna move that off. If you haven't finished it, you can go back, but let's move on together, shall we? Okay, so this is card number 2. And this one has a little bit more stuffing, has some flowers. I love this paper. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? So pretty. And I'm gonna try and stay in order of my numbers. I won't be swept into the craziness of going out of order. So let me I didn't score my card here. So we are going to grab another card base. I did an A2. It's nice and thick. Oh, I hope you can't. Thank you, Doris, for joining us. So let's move on here. So we have, this is going to be our base layer, if we call it. And I chose to utilize this portion of the paper because to me it adds so much to the bottom there. Like, of course, we're going to be adding our laser cuts and things, but it's such a beautiful background, isn't it? So that is going to be our first layer. So I'm going to have us take this sheet. It looks like this on the back. Has that great stamped pattern there. And this is going to be, we want to cut it so it is 4 by 5 1/4. So I am going to take my trimmer, and this is just, so I'm going to have, I want to make sure I'm using that pretty floral area. So I'm gonna flip that up so I don't make a boo-boo and cut it off. Look at that. That's a great layer. So that is 4. And then I am going to, again, go to 5, 5 1/4. And again, I am making sure that that special part of it there is not going to be destroyed by the trimmer. So it should look something like that. something like that, just so we have that beautiful piece for our bottom there. And then I am going to continue inking very lightly just along the edge here. When I look at these patterns, the fussy cutter in me, probably not so much on the 6x8, but when I was designing the layouts, they have some imagery like this, of course, the same imagery. And I so wanted to take some of the floral laser cuts and kind of cut off some petals and just kind of pop them up over top. I think that would be really cool. Okay, so this is my first, this is level number 1, and that's just going to go, actually, I popped that up. So let's continue with that. You do not have to, of course, but I did pop it up. So let's go for a little pop-up. And this is, if you're still trimming, so we're doing that first layer. It's the sheet that looks like that, has those beautiful flowers on the bottom. And we want to cut it to 4 inches and then cut that piece with those flowers at the bottom to 5 1/4 or something like that. Maybe you're making a different size card. Can't wait to see what you're creating. You guys always come up with such great tweaks and go your own way. Oh my goodness. Premature attachment there. Oh golly. I struggle with being straight, so I'm going to stand her up. I think I can hear the Prima warehouse stuff arriving. I wouldn't be heartbroken if I'm in here while the skid arrives, but don't tell Deanna that. I will help. I will help. Okay. So that is our first. So we have our card base, we have that first layer, which looks like that. Now, if you want to go grab your, remember this sheet from the first card? We need a background for this piece here. So we want to have that layer. So let's cut a piece that is 2 3/4 by 4 inches. Now you can use this side, you can use that side. Maybe you have another piece that speaks to you. I just wanted something with a bit of that blue, right? So 2 3/4 by 4 inches. So 2 3/4. I'm gonna go for the blue by 4 inches. And with this one, let me see. I think I brought my little, I was sure I did. Oh, I did. The little distress tool. This one is from Uniquely. And I'm gonna scruff up those edges a little bit. I want the distressed look. Which this is nice and easy way to do it. You can also use your scissors. I find I have more oopsies when I use scissors. anytime also if I want to roll an edge or something, often I will go and take my my edge distress tool, because it also kind of, it changes the composition of the paper, makes it a little softer. I just want it to look a little worse for wear, even more than it already does. So I'm just kind of going around and scruffing things up a little bit more. Maybe you want to roll an edge. I'm not going to quite go to that degree. Oh, do you remember when people started paper tearing and using distress tools? And it was something. It was just, it rocked our world, didn't it? I still like, it has its purpose, that's for sure. Adds so much like that visual texture. So then I'm just taking my brown ink and going around that edge. So I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. Do you also have a piece? You should have a piece that looks like this. This one, I believe it's longer. I cut mine. Let me see if I can find it. So originally it will look like this. Love it. It's kind of perfect. So we have our little blue trellis, and now we just want to cut, I call this the cream grid. So if you can cut a piece of it that is 2.5 by 3 3/4. So we're working here on number 4. So 2.5 by 3 3/4. Ooh, I can do it. 2.5 by 3 3/4. And boop, boop, boop. I am going to, the only thing about this is it makes a little bit of a mess. So I'm going to scrape those edges again. Using my little tool. And I'm not doing every inch of it. Oh, it's going to drive me batty. Let's tidy up here. And again, kind of just to match the vibe of that other piece, just going to take my fingers and just kind of play with those edges a little bit. I had no idea about time. So I'll show you the third card. I wasn't sure if we'd get a chance, but looks like we're not going to. But I will show it to you. It's very easy. It's actually using, my kit that I designed with was missing a couple sheets because we had to pilfer from mine to pass along to you guys. So I have the back of the cover of the 6x8 paper pack. So I just thought I'm going to use that and make a quick card. Okay, so we have our piece that looks like that. We have this. They are going to go on top of each other. Now, something to think about. Don't put your adhesive all around the edge because we want to be able to tuck, okay? So I am just kind of sticking more to the center, kind of like that. And then this just kind of sits right in there, okay? So it'll look like that. So now this we can kind of play with. And that's going to sit something like this. I might move it over a smidgen. And I'm actually, so I put this together and I really was trying to stay, it killed me to cover up these flowers. So I kept up a little higher than I normally would. It's kind of bugging me. So I'm gonna pull it on this one. I'm gonna pull it down just maybe a smidge. I am also going to use some foam tape. And I'm gonna try these squares. Okay. So this is gonna just sit right on the front of the card, and then we will start adding all of our laser cuts to the design. And I'll leave that up to you where you put it, but like I said, I'm just gonna come down maybe a smidgen. It's not centered. So it's almost a 1/2 inch. So it has a little border there. I just eyeballed it and just stuck it there. I definitely want to be able to see the design at the bottom of the paper there. So I don't want to go too, high. Oh dear. Messy business. Okay. So let's find all of our other doodads here. So we have a tag. That's handy for constructing on. We have this little number, love a ticket, so useful. Can cut them up. Look at that. The petals are made out of pages. We've got a little heart. I've got a couple of sayings there, collected moments and everyday magic. Now, because I was trying to just stick with my my 1 pack of laser cuts, I might have had to select a couple different flowers, but you have done the homework, so you know what I'm working with. So we have this little cute little lady there. Love the leaves. I've got a brown one. I've got a blue, and I actually just realized I'm missing. I think we should have 3 blue leaves, I dare say. I dare say so. So I'm just gonna grab. So if you have 3 of those blue leaves, no big deal if you don't. You can't really see them very much, so it's not a huge end of the world. And then we have this guy, okay? So I love to cut up my flowers, because it stretches them, which we always want to do. So if you take this guy here, I'm going to cut him right through the center. And I'm just going to roll those edges a little bit, so then they're not flat, you know. And I am going to take my brown and I'm just going to very lightly ink my edges. And the same with this guy. I'm not going to do a lot. Kind of just around the tips of the petals. Okay. I love that one. My goodness. And then we have this guy we're not going to cut. He's too little. We're gonna let him be, but I am going to ink his edges. This guy is gonna get the scissors. We're gonna cut him. Oh, I didn't mean to be that heavy-handed with my ink, but that's okay. I'm gonna cut that in half, set that aside. What else do we have here? I have one of these guys. Again, just taking my fingers. We are going to cut in half. We are also going to ink a little bit. Just kind of the tips is good. Another thing I was thinking about, and I might, I want to keep playing with this product. I think it would be really cool to do some watercoloring. So even just with your distress inks, taking a damp paintbrush and playing with some ink and just adding little bits of color, like a more bright color. I think that would look really cool. So I'm gonna play a bit with that for sure. And again, just for continuity, taking my ink and just going around the edges of everything. And again, it shouldn't take us long, right? And it's not, like, I haven't reloaded my blender. So that kind of tells you how much I'm putting on. Not a lot. I am so excited to see what Courtney has up her sleeve. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I know this is her cup of tea too. And judging by what she's asking you to bring, I think it's gonna be very cool. So Courtney will be on at 5 Pacific. So tune in on Scrapbook and Memories. And then just a reminder, whenever you're tuning into this, we upload these videos onto both of the store YouTubes. So for our Clipper Street video, you can go to our YouTube page, and the same with Scrapbook and Memories. You will go to their YouTube page, and that way we can store them safely there and they're not going to be deleted by Facebook. And if you go to clipperstreet.com, there is all of the information there. So if you go to classes and Crafty Hour link up at the top, I did kind of all the info you would need and all the links and everything there. Okay, so let's start building here. We are going to start with our tag, because this is, I always look at everything and I think of, okay, this is where all the building emanates from, right? So I'm going to take some of my foam tape and we are going to add this to the right side of our little rectangle here, our little frame. So I want it to be hanging off a little bit. So just like that, hanging off a little bit. I've got my foam here. It's nice and secure. Going to take our ticket, and I just want to see the top. So cut it off so it looks just like this. Set that aside, and I want a snippet like that. And then this, you can set it aside, but just something that looks like that, just so we can have a little bit of blue. That's what I found when everything was too creamy, not enough color. It's really handy, and I'm sure that's what they were thinking when they designed it, just to have the little pops of blue to kind of add some more interest. So see the corner of the tag there? I'm just going down like 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't matter where it is. Just tuck it under there. And then taking Everyday Magic. Everyday Magic is going to cover, it's going to run along the top there, and it's going to cover the top of my little ticket. So I'm just putting my tape runner. I'm not going to worry about putting foam tape on the end. Just like that. Okay, you can if you want. I'm not worried about it. I don't think it's going to sag or anything like that, but you could add a little piece of foam tape there for sure. And then I'm going to take my collected moments, and this is going to go right at the bottom. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use foam tape on the left side. So I'm going to have some foam tape here. I just want you to be careful and only put your adhesive on the bottom, almost where the moments is, because I want to be able to just lift the top of this up a little bit to tuck a stem under there, okay? Just a little. Then I'm going to use so just having a little piece of foam there. And then I just put a little bit of my tape runner. And this is going to go almost right at the bottom of the tag. So it's almost separated. So collected is hanging off and moments is on the tag. Collected is foamed up, popped up. Moments is flat, if that makes sense. And now we can go ahead and add some of our florals. Like I said, I'm just going to add, not going to stress too much. Just going to add a couple foam squares and a little foam square to my petal. Sorry, folks, I'm going over. Here I thought, oh, I think these are going to be too quick. Sorry about that, guys. So then this is going to go very much right in the center. We just want to be careful. Watch that Everyday Magic. If you have to cut your stem a little bit, you can cut your stem, but I'm kind of happy with that. So that goes like that. And then we take our little pink friend, and I'm not worried at all about the stem because good grief, it's so delicate. I just want it to can go over top or just right beside the other flower's stem. And it just kind of nicely tucks under there. I am going to take my heart. The heart is just going to tuck under the collected, and just overlap that blue ticket ever so slightly. And I popped it up on my first card. I'm gonna go for a change and I'm going to do it flat this time. So again, it goes, tucks under the collected moments and ever so slightly on overlapping on that blue ticket piece. And then we've got, if you want to grab the number, that little strip, that is going to go, it's meant to just be a layer. So see, I just tucked it under, kind of under the tag and under our little base piece there. And I'm not popping it up, I'm going in flat. And it's a layer, it adds a little color there. Nothing too complicated. So let's go in with our flowers, okay? So on the top here, I'm going to start with this brown leaf, and I'm just rolling the edges a little bit. And this is going to go just like that. Okay. Geez, that looks realistic. So right into the corner there. And it can be flat. And then we're gonna go in with our big guys. Now, I actually have them here. You could, if you want to go right underneath, but I actually have them like that. So they're actually tucked under the grid piece of paper, but you could totally go underneath it all, right? You can also go in with more flowers if you wanted, but I would do that after. I don't want you to use up stuff that Courtney needs for you to have. So we can take another half of the big one, and it's gonna go, okay, oop, 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 like that. So I've got like that, and we're gonna take one of these little guys. And I'm going to take one of my little foam bits and I'm going to pop it up right like this. Just like that, just to kind of fill in that space, okay? So just like that. Now we have the top of our ticket. It should say D2166. I am going to add some of my foam squares, and we're going to pop that up kind of to the right of that flower right there. So just like that, okay? Perfect, perfect, perfect. I wish I had Bob Ross's hair. I wish I had his thick hair. It looks so thick. Okay. I hope I'm not putting you to sleep. Trying not to. Okay, and then I feel like I'm saying, but wait, there's more. But wait. So we have to go into this corner here, right? So take our daisy, and again, oh, there's cat fur all over my adhesives. Okay, so I'm gonna go in again under that grid like that. So we're gonna start kind of a similar thing on the bottom there. Grab one of these big blue leaves and no, I'm not worrying about foam tape for these. Trying my best to show you guys so you can see. So there's that daisy there. I'm just gonna push that right under and smush it down. Whoop. Smush it in. So we've got the blue leaf underneath, and there's that daisy there. Now, I actually am going, I lied. I'm going to snip just a little bit off my little flower here. We don't need all of that. I am going to add a foam square. And this little guy, so it's that little flower, the little itty bitty, is going to go in the corner. So just like that. Just like that. And then continuing around the corner, this is where it's gonna get a little tricky because we've got the tag hanging over. Thank you guys. I am so sorry. I am really late. Good gracious. Thank you for playing with me. One might think I'm trying to avoid the Prima skid, but I'm really not. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I've got my daisy, my little flower, my other flower. We're gonna come in our last guy. I am going to put the little foam square there because I need some height. And this is going to go just right there, like that. Now, I'm going to leave this up to you. I feel like we need, oh, I like that. I was going to say, I don't think we need another leaf, but excuse me, I think we do. And I like it hanging off the nice thing about these, they're double-sided. So if you have something hanging over, it's not going to be the ugly. Oh, I kind of like that. Look at that. Is that crazy? Maybe it is a little. I'm going to snip. Maybe it's a little too much. Oh dear. I'm going rogue, guys. Yeah, I kind of like that. We're done. I'm done. We're done. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for playing with me for way too long. Here are the two cards. I will, this is just a really quick and easy one that I made. I was using, I don't know if you guys bought the 6x8 paper pack. Some of you might have got this in with your Crafty Hour, but I just, it's a piece of paper. So I just utilized the edge. So I cut a strip that was 5 1/4, and then I just snipped it so it was even like that. And then literally just have a piece from there as the first layer, and then just using some of the laser cuts and the little wildflower notes. Very quick, very easy. Maybe don't worry about this one. I'm worried Courtney might be using some of those, but it's a little bit of something else to share with you guys. And again, if you are watching this and you missed out on the kit, we do have some left. They're $36. You get a full pack of the ephemera, full pack of the wildflower laser cuts, and half of the paper pad. So more than enough to keep going. Okay, so thank you. I am going to get back to work. Thank you for joining me. I apologize for running late. Lesson learned. But again, a reminder for 5 o'clock Pacific time, Courtney. Tune into Courtney. I know she's got something amazing. You guys have a great rest of the Thursday, and we will see you tomorrow at Together at 2. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.